Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how to Zuggle literally anything in 1.1.2. This will work on any version of the game, but if you're on any version prior to 1.1.2, then you have no reason to use this. You should be using map Zuggling, and I'll leave a link to that up in the top right of the video that you should see right about now. Go click on that and make your life much easier. We have a lot to go over in this video, so I'm going to try and do this as quick as I can. Now, we're going to be doing 4 different glitches in this video, so the credit for each glitch will be put up on the screen when we get to that glitch. I'm not just going to throw everything up now and make it an illiterate jumble of names. Required material. There's a couple of lists of materials that you'll need depending on which of these you want to do. There's some material that you'll need for pretty much everything and some material that you'll only need for specific parts. I'm going to go over the materials you'll need for almost everything real quick with you, and then the glitch specific materials I'll throw up on screen so you can pause, go collect those, and then come back when you're ready. And I'll do that after I go over. So the ones I'm going to go over with you, you'll need a shock emitter for most of this. And I highly recommend getting a stake. It's going to make your life easy, and it's going to be a lot more convenient. I'll show you where you can get those in a moment. You're also going to need full shock resistance. This can be done with either full rubber armor set. This can be done with rubber pants, rubber body, and topaz earrings. This can be done with the lightning helm. Any of the 3 is fine, doesn't matter. I'm going to be using the lightning helm. As for where to get these, lightning emitter, you can come to the Typhlo Ruins Skyview Tower, take that up a little south. Right here, dispenser with shock emitters, get them at this one. Stakes, you can come down here to the southwest, right before Gerudo Canyon. You can get stakes at this dispenser. For the leather armor, you can find one piece here in the Horon Lagoon Lake. I believe these are the pants. You can find another piece down here in Faron. Down in the Sargon Woods Cave, I believe this is the helmet. And you can get the 3rd piece here in southern central Hyrule Field in the Whistling Hill Cave, and I believe this is the body armor. And then if you wanted to get the topaz earrings instead of the helmet, you come to Gerudo Town, come to the jewelry store right here, buy them, much easier. I recommend that over getting all 3 of the pieces. And if you want the lightning helm, you can come here once you have all 3 pieces of the Yiga armor, come through the hideout, do the challenges, and you can get the lightning helm. Those are what you'll need for most of this. And then you're also going to need a flat wall. And then the glitch specific requirements, I'll put those up on the screen right now, so you can pause the video, go collect those, and then come back when you're ready. Now that we have everything we need, we're going to start off with our shock emitter and optional stake. If you didn't get a stake, then obviously you don't need to do this setup. If you did, I recommend doing it this way and setting it up adjacent to your wall. I recommend not setting it up parallel because you run the risk of clipping items into the wall and potentially losing them. So adjacent is the better way to do it. That's my recommendation. So I'm going to be breaking this up into 2 different sections. We're going to start with shield and bow zuggling, and then we're going to move into melee weapon zuggling, because these are going to use different methods that are going to require entirely different steps, but the shield and bow smuggling is identical, so I can go over those at the same time. So that's what we're going to start with. So whichever you're going to do, shields or bows, I'm going to be using shields for this demonstration. I'll explain everything for bows as we go along, so it shouldn't be any issue for you. For shields, I recommend having your Master Sword or an MSG equipped. You need to have something equipped. I recommend having one of these because they don't fly from your hand. So, first thing we need to do is we need to get our shock resistance on. If you're using the full set, equip all 3 pieces. And then we need to get this on, and we're going to come walk right up next to it. If you're zuggling a shield, have your weapon and your sword and shield drawn in your hand. If you're zuggling a bow, then you need to press ZR, so that way it is drawn in your hand, like this. So once you're like that, up against the electricity, we're going to open our menu. We're going to remove our shock resistance. If you have the lightning helm, take it off. If you're using a 3-piece set, you can remove just 1 piece of it and you'll be fine. From here, press minus, adventure log. We're going to go down to our memories and we're going to watch 2 memories. Because every time we watch a memory, it advances our game by exactly 1 frame. And we need to go forward by exactly 2 frames. So 2 memories, don't need to watch through. You can just press X and plus to skip. And then once we're done watching those, we're going to press plus, back into our menu. We're going to go to, if you're using this for shields, you're going to go to your shields. If you're doing it with a bow, you're going to go to your bows. And then you'll drop your equipped bow or your equipped shield, like this. And then we're going to press minus 1 more time. And we're going to go and we're going to watch 1 more memory. Again, skip through it, doesn't matter, just needs to load it because we need to go forward 1 more frame. From here, you can press B, close out of it, you'll get shocked, you'll notice your shield or your bow won't fly away, and now we're about halfway there. With your shield, you'll notice if you press B, then you'll get put in this animation. I believe if you're doing it with a bow, you'll just put your bow away. So from this position, we're going to hold down L. You can select any of your abilities, really. And then as soon as we let go of L, you're either going to mash or you're going to time a left or right on the D-pad to bring up either your shield menu if you're zuggling a shield or your bow menu if you're zuggling a bow. And depending on if you put the bow away, you might have to tap ZR before this comes up, but I don't think so. That's just a maybe. Anyway, we're going to let go of L and then we're going to immediately go into our menu. It'll look like this. Scroll over to any other shield or bow and then release to equip. If you're doing a shield, you'll notice the animation stops. You can now draw, put away. And now we're almost there. Last step, we need to walk up against a wall, our flat wall, turn around so our back is facing it. If you're using a bow, you need to make sure that you press ZR and you take the bow out drawn in your hand, because that's what will give you access to the bow menu when you press right on the D-pad. Otherwise, it's not going to be as easy for you. So then, once more, hold down L, and then we're going to time our D-pad as soon as we go out of here. And then this time, we're going to press X to drop our equipped shield or our equipped bow. You'll see your ability comes up, and you'll see you can't take that out here. And now, you're done. Your shield or your bow is officially fully zuggled. If you load up a save, it'll come with you, which means you can go back to an earlier save and use this as a way to duplicate. If you duplicate this way, modifiers will stay on your equipment. Just a little nice thing to know. So that's it for shields and bows. We're all done here. If you want to end your zuggle, then you just drop whatever shield or bow you have visibly equipped. It needs to be visibly equipped. So if you were to equip it in a menu, you would need to close out and let it show up on you first before you could drop it to end the zuggle. Just important to note. But that's it for shielded bows. That's all done. So moving on to melee weapon zuggling. Now, real quick, I know you're wondering, and I'm sorry to disappoint, but no, unfortunately, this cannot be performed with the MSG not found, because the first step to doing this requires us to use FEWZ Entanglement, which requires the item to be able to be fused to a shield. And since the MSG cannot be fused, we unfortunately cannot use this method to zuggle it. With that out of the way, for melee weapon zuggling, you want to pick which weapon you're going to zuggle. I'm going to be using a Knight's Broadsword. Important to note that it can't have anything fused to it at the moment. We can fuse something to it in the process, but it can't start with it for the same needing to be able to fuse rule. So we're going to drop our weapon. Again, make sure we don't have anything else equipped. And then we want to have our shield equipped. So we're going to come back, and if you're not familiar with FEWZ Entanglement, what we're going to be doing is holding down L to bring up our ability wheel, and then timing a ZL press for right before that wheel pops up. And it should look something like this. You'll see a little light on the ground where the weapon was, and the weapon has disappeared. You might see it floating behind you by your shield, but this is the general indicator that your timing was correct. If it was too slow, then you'll just see the weapon sitting on the ground and you just try again. If you were too quick, it'll fully fuse, and then you'll have to load up a save to get the weapon back or go see Pelisan, and you'll have to try again. Anyway, once we're in this position, same as with the Zuggling, we're going to let go and we're going to time left on the D-pad like this. And if you see just a normal shield, nothing fused, then that means you've done it correctly, your timing was good, you're all set to keep going. So just move over to any other shield, doesn't matter, let go to equip, and you'll see that our weapon hits the floor. So we're going to pick it up. Fuse Entanglement is now done. If we open up our shields, you'll see that it looks like it's fused here, but it's clearly not fused here. That's the Fuse Entanglement. Now, if you want to fuse something to the weapon that you're Zuggling, now is the time to do it. So for this, I'll be using a silver Lionel Horn. So just normal fusion, just grab it. And for the next step, we're going to be doing a glitch called drop smuggling. To do this, we're going to get our shock emitter on. We're going to put on our shock resistance, so either your helmet or your full set. And then we're going to walk up to this thing, make sure it's arcing, make sure that our weapon and our shield are in our hand, drawn. And then we're going to pause. We're going to remove our shock resistance, go to our melee weapons. We're going to drop our equipped weapon, and then we're going to equip any other weapon. I recommend not using the MSG for this, just for safety. So I'm going to equip, and then I'm going to press B. And that little fling right there is why I tell you to use the stake, because this knight's broadsword that's now stuck to my feet will throw the shock emitter if it's not attached to a stake, and you'll have to go chase it down. So once we've done that, you're going to pick up the sword at your feet, and then you're going to pick up the shield. So now we've done drop smuggling. We're all good with that step. You'll see that if we press Y to try and attack, we can't do anything with it. You'll see that our shield is still entangled, but we're now in this in-between state where we're not quite smuggling because we can sprint, but we're not quite zuggling because it won't persist through a load. So from here, you should be able to equip any other weapon, which will allow us to actually draw our shield, which is important because for the next step, we're going to Zuggle this shield using the same instructions that we just went over. So we're going to get our shock resistance, we're going to draw our sword and our shield, pause, unequip our shock resistance. Again, if you have the full set of 3, just 1. And then we're going to come and we're going to watch 2 memories. And then when we're done our memories, same thing, we're going to come back, we're going to drop our entangled shield that we have equipped, press minus again, and we're going to watch that one last memory. And then we press B, and from this point, that weapon will fall to the ground. We don't need to worry about that right now, and we'll be back in this shield animation from before. Same thing as last time, pull up the ability menu, time left on the D-pad, move over to equip, walk up back facing our flat wall, same thing again, time left on the D-pad, X to drop, can't take that out here, and now our weapon is fully smuggled. We pick this back up, it will act fine, and the reason that we needed to Zuggle the shield is because the Fuse Entanglement is essentially the reason that we're able to Zuggle the weapon. We're not so much Zuggling the melee weapon as we're backpacking it off of the shield. Because the shield itself is what's forcing the weapon into your hand due to the entanglement, paired with the drop smuggling, which lets it be in between the Zuggle and Smuggle, which allows you to overwrite it by equipping. So the weapon smuggle, or the weapon Zuggle, is tied to the shield. So if you wanted to end or break your weapon Zuggle, then you would need to drop an equipped and visibly equipped shield. You'll see that the weapon is still in your hand. And then from here, you can either pick up the entangled shield and then equip to a different shield, or you can pick up the regular shield, pick up the entangled one, and as soon as you do, your Zuggled weapons will disappear. Now, like the shields, if you do this, it will be gone from your inventory because you're taking the item from your inventory and gluing it to your hand. But the copy of it will still be fused onto your shield, so you can take it to Peloson and disassemble it to get your weapon back. You'll lose the fusion material that you attach to it in the process, obviously, but this way you can at least keep the weapon. And like with the sword and the shield, or the shield and the bow, if you reload an older save before you did this, you can use this as a method for duplicating melee weapons. You have to go to Peloson, but same as the shield and the bow, this works as a full weapon duplication. Now, you're probably wondering, and yes, you can do this multiple times, and you can stack this multiple times, but there's a little bit of a process to it, which is why I wanted to save it for the end. So that covers everything for the actual Zuggling. So now, if you want to know how to stack it with multiple Zuggled weapons, then I'll show you that right now. So it's going to be the same process, and I'm going to be going through this much quicker and only stopping to highlight the differences. So anything I've already shown, I'm just going to be doing quickly for the sake of time. So I'm going to be doing this with 3 weapons. So I'm going to drop 3 weapons. I'm going to make sure they're different weapons just so it's visibly more clear. And then I'm also going to go ahead and, for the sake of example, we're going to make everybody's favorite misunderstanding, and that being the Avatar sword. So same thing, we're going to go ahead and just do some quick fuse entanglement. And I'm just going to speed through all of this. Quick little drop smuggle. So once we are done, once we've drop smuggled it and we're in this position, we want to take our shield, our entangled shield, and just drop it. We're going to leave this here. This basically is a weapon smuggle token. Think of it that way. This shield is a token good for 1 Zuggled Frost Gliok sword, is a good way to think of it. So next I'm just going to do the same thing. Once again, we're going to do a quick drop smuggle to get it in that nice glitch state that we want it in. And then again, I'm just going to drop this shield over here in the pile. And that's a token that's basically good for 1 Zuggled Flame Gliok sword. So then, last one. One more drop smuggle. Okay. So now, each of these shields represents one of the weapons that I'm going to Zuggle. So from here, we need to Zuggle them one by one individually. And you need to be very, very careful the way you do it. So I'm going to start with this one. We'll pick it up. See that I have the weapon in my hand. So next we're going to equip our extra weapon. And we're going to Zuggle this shield. And because you've already seen me do this 3 times now, I'm going to fast forward through it for you. Alright, been shocked. We're going to ignore that stick. Like before, we're going to equip, get up against our wall, unequip, Zuggled. So now, this shield, this flame Gliok weapon are now both Zuggled. I can swing, I can use it, all good. Now, from this point, before you pick up anything else, go into your shields and unequip. Very, very important. I'm even going to be safe and unequip my weapon. I don't think you need to, but just for the sake of seeing it pop up. So now, with no shield equipped, that is the most important, I cannot stress enough, no shield equipped, or you will completely ruin the entanglement on the shield that you pick up. It'll be useless. Not only will it be useless, but you can't restart and remake that one if you've already started another Zuggle. You'll have to cancel your Zuggle and start everything from scratch. So I really want to stress, no shield equipped. Pick it up. Now you'll see that I have the shock Gleeok, sword, whatever, weapon in my hand. Now, just like before, equip our extra weapon so we can take it out. And now I'm going to Zuggle the shield for this one. Once again, in this state, equip, back to the wall, unequip, and then once again, we're good. Shock Gleeok sword has been fused. Now you can see both of them. Once again, unequip that for visibility. And again, very, very, very important, unequip the shield. And then we're going to pick up our last one, and you'll see now there's some blue in there for the Frost Gleeok. Go equip our tree branch one more time so we can take it out. And then we're going to go Zuggle the last shield. And then one last time, equip, unequip. There's a tree branch. And now, as you can see, just like in 1.0 up to 1.1.1, you can swing all three of your elements with every single swing of the sword, no matter what sword you equip. Throw on my Master Sword. We got all the elements. So that's how you can stack multiple different weapons with this Zuggle. You just need to do a little bit of prep for it. Now, very important to note that these Zuggled weapons are not unbreakable. These can be broken, and I'm pretty sure they won't give you a warning when they're about to break either. It will just happen suddenly, unless... Nope, there we go. There we go. We see it's telling me my Master Sword is badly damaged, so that might be the indicator. I think that's the indicator for my tree branch. Yep. So there goes the Frost Gleeok. So just to show you that these absolutely are destructible. So if you're going to do this with melee weapons, I do recommend using high durability melee weapons that you're going to get some good use out of. And then I also recommend making a save before you start, and then as soon as you're done Zuggling all of them, just pull back up and reload that save, because now you've effectively duped them, and you don't have to worry about breaking your only copy of the weapons. And I'm just going to load up real quick to show you that this Flame Gleeok sword that's still in my hand is properly Zuggled, and it will persist across the save. Just to give that last little bit of confirmation. But that's going to wrap it up. I know this was much longer than usual. I tried to cut this down as much as I could. I don't know what the final product's going to look like at this moment. Hopefully I'm able to cut down a good amount of it, but apologies for the length. There was just a lot to go over and a lot of specific details that I wanted to make sure that you knew before you went into this. So with all of that said, if you liked the video, please do me a favor and leave it a like. It really does help me out. And by this point, I think I've earned a subscription, don't you? So subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.